Good morning, children. Welcome back to our geography class. In our climate chapter, in the last class, we have discussed about the mechanism of monsoons, right? And in today's class, we are going to learn about the jet streams. It means we shall learn about the influence of westerly and easterly jet streams on the monsoons of India. So, what are jet streams, children? As we all have learned about this jet streams in the past classes, right? Once again, we recollect it. Jet streams are nothing but they are a narrow belt of high altitude westerly winds in the troposphere. See here, you can see in the troposphere there the narrow belt of high altitude winds. Those are called jet streams. So they are located at to tropopause, close to tropopause, and speed varies from 110 kilometers per hour in summer to about 184 kilometers per hour in winter. Okay, so in terms of latitudes, these jet streams are located approximately 27 degrees to 30 degrees north latitudes. I repeat, these jet streams are located in the northern hemisphere 27 to 30 degrees north latitudes. Okay, so therefore they are known as subtropical westerly jet streams because they are very close to tropical areas. Their paths typically have a meandering shape. It means loop shape. That is, they move in a zigzag manner. They also split into two or more parts and combine into one stream. Okay, or flow in various directions, including the opposite direction of most of the jet. Over in India, these jet streams blow south of the Himalayas. All through the year, they blow south of the Himalayas, but except in summer, they blow north of Himalayas. So in summer, the subtropical westerly jet streams move north of Himalayas. It is because of the apparent movement of the sun. As I already told you that apparent movement of the sun means what, children? Sun will never move. Only the earth rotates. No. So when it is rotating, we feel that the sun is moving around the earth. But actually what is moving? The earth only moving around the sun. So that's called apparent movement of the sun. So in summer, the apparent movement of the sun is in the north. So now even the Tibetan plateau gets heat up and a low pressure zone is developed. You can see that in the picture. It pulls the westerly jet streams towards the westerly jet streams northward. So now the jet streams also determine the arrival and departure of the monsoons. Did you understand, children? So let's understand how they arrive and the departure. Okay. We have seen that the Tibetan plateau get intensively heated, so a low pressure area is created. You can see in this picture. Whenever a low pressure area is created, the wind from the nearby areas will be rushing towards this region. It means this low pressure region attracts the high pressure winds. So these winds not only just come towards these low pressure areas, they also bend. You can see this in picture, children. They also bend. Since these winds are the northern hemisphere, they will bend towards the right. It is due to the Coriolis force. We have discussed about the Coriolis force, no? Because of the speedy rotation around itself, no? The winds try to deflect in the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. That's called Coriolis force. So due to this effect, the winds tend to bend towards the right. Okay. So we can call this as a cyclone, children. When these winds bend towards right and rotate itself, no, it's called what? A cyclone. So where a low pressure is created and the winds are attracted towards it. So in this region at the lower altitudes, the winds move in anti-clockwise direction. In the lower altitudes, what happens, children? The winds move in the anti-clockwise direction. Okay. The warm air in this region starts rising up, and as the wind is rising, we also know it starts cooling. So it finally reaching very close to tropopause. You can see here. Down the wind is very hot, that's why it is rising. And as soon as it rises, children, the winds get cooled down. So when it reaches the tropopause, what happens, children? At this point, the air becomes cool and temperature is low. So the pressure is also high. So when the air is cool and temperature is low, the pressure is always high. Okay. Now, if the pressure is high, the wind in this region tend to move away from this region. As the wind is moving away, will bend towards right, because the winds bend towards right in the northern hemisphere. And we have discussed in the earlier class, no, that winds in the northern hemisphere bends towards right. Okay. And also rotate in a clockwise direction. Clockwise direction, you know, no? Clock. Okay. How the clock rotates? In that direction, they rotate. So a large scale circulation of winds around the central region of high atmospheric pressure is known as anticyclone. I repeat, a large scale circulation of winds around the central region of high atmospheric pressure is known as anticyclone. So let's see difference between the cyclone and anticyclone, right? Cyclones move in an anti-clockwise direction, children, whereas anticyclones move in a clockwise direction in the northern hemisphere. I repeat, cyclones move in an anti-clockwise direction in the northern hemisphere. Likewise, anticyclones move in a clockwise direction in the northern hemisphere. Okay, so this anticyclone in the upper troposphere weakens the western subtropical jet stream, and it also produces tropical easterly jet streams on the south side of the anticyclone. I repeat, this anticyclone, children, in the upper troposphere weakens the western subtropical jet streams, and it also produces tropical easterly jet streams on the south side of the, just below the anticyclone. Okay, just below the anticyclone it produces another one. Now these western subtropical jet streams divides into two. One moves over the northern part of the Tibetan Plateau and the other moves over the southern part. So finally what happens now? Finally, in the northeastern part of India, it develops into easterly jet streams on the southern side of the anticyclone. You can see here. Okay, the high temperature over the Tibetan Plateau as well as over the Central Asia is in general during the summer leads to the formation of tropical easterly jet streams. Okay, over India in summer. I repeat, the high temperature over the Tibetan Plateau as well as over the Central Asia in general during the summer, it leads to the formation of tropical easterly jet streams over India in summer. This easterly jet streams extends westward across the India over the Arabian Sea. You can see in this picture they are moving towards the Arabian Sea and to the eastern Africa also. So the air finally descends over the Mascarene High. I told you, no. So this is a place where the high pressure develops, no. So that's called Mascarene High, and strengthen the power pressure cell over there. Okay. So when we talk about the low level winds, means the winds which are blowing in the low level, no, those are called low level winds. So they originate from the Mascarene High, move from southeast to northeast. After crossing the equator, they start moving southwest to northeast and bring rain over the most parts of India and Asia also. Okay. On the other hand, when we talk about the upper air circulation, the subtropical westerly move over the North India at the Tibetan Plateau. Okay, the upper air circulations, the subtropical westerly move over the north of the India at the Tibetan Plateau. So they weaken due to the presence of high pressure and move ahead in the form of easterly jet streams and power the regions of Mascarene High, because there it is high pressure, no, so they power up those regions, so they move towards them. Okay, so that's all for today, children. Thank you. Have a nice day.